creator and showrunner, and some of this is inspired by your own experiences. How did you navigate authenticity versus presumed stereotypes?
Great question. So what I wanted to do is kind of present an Indian family for what it is, which is a non-monolithic experience. Everybody has a different attitude. Some people are more American, some people are more Indian. This happens within families. And just by presenting that difference within what you think is one thing, will start dissolving the idea of stereotypes, right? Like the Indian teenage girl is basically immediately a teenager. The moment we meet her as a teenager of like, oh, I'm trying to text a photo to my friend. Oh, okay, that's an that's just a teenager, right? But the Indian boy is like, for me from Ahmedabad, India. Like, oh, that kid feels a little more Indian. They're brothers and sister. That kind of eliminates the idea that there's one stereotype and that there's texture. So that's how we kind of created authenticity, is making each character different, even though you would think that they're all the same.
Were there any particular true stories that you were like, I absolutely need this to be part of the show?
Yes. In the first episode, the couple of inciting incidences are from my life. We moved from India to Pittsburgh, and it was during a blizzard, and we were woefully unprepared. And that was a symbol of how unprepared we were for the experience. Yet we found our own ways. Spoiler alert, they don't have jackets, so they put on 3 sweatshirts, which is the most Indian thing to do. It's like, I'm just going to put on 3 sweatshirts, and I'm not even going to deal with it. That is how we dealt with life. So that when other challenges show up, you realize, oh, this family deals with the challenges, but in an unexpected way. So everything was a symbol of what the story to unfold was. So I wanted to portray that, the can-do-ness of immigrants, because immigrants are the most can-do people there are, right? They have the courage to leave their homeland and start anew. So I wanted to have that. And then the specific stories of like the little traumas that when I tell people, I'm not going to spoil it, but things happen in this first episode where people are like, that happened to your family? I'm like, yeah. Oh my God, how did you not just run away from America? I'm like, because not all of us thought it was the end of the world. Like this happens to people. Oh, I'm like, that's why it's funny. When you tell people who haven't had that experience, they're like, oh my God, this must have been your sky was falling. I'm like, nope, just another day as an immigrant. They're like, oh, that's the show. That's the show.
And then last question, another big element of the show is your perceived perceptions of your own self and how others see you. What made you want to have that be part of how this story is told?
Great question. The Rashomon, different points of view, unreliable narrator storytelling really speaks to how even though you have the same experience as somebody else who's standing next to you, you're both standing on a different piece of ground and you are seeing it a little bit differently. And therefore you see yourself a little bit differently. Sometimes you see yourself as an elevated saint. Sometimes you see yourself as, the devil. But those dynamics make storytelling so much more surprising and hilarious. And that's what we wanted to infuse the show with. It's a family story that has lots of comedy, tons of like heartwarming moments, but most of all, twists and shocking surprises that you just don't see coming. Because that really is what it's like to be a family and to live a life. You don't know how your day is going to end. So let's not pretend that's how people live in TV either. They have surprises that just seem to come out of nowhere. We want to make that part of our storytelling.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Kari.